every bourbon enthusiast has that one gateway pour where they graduate from that mentality of all whiskey is made for mixing Jack and Coke to maybe whiskey is meant for sipping. Maybe whiskey is meant for enjoying. Maybe bourbon is more, and it can be more. To me, Weller Special Reserve was the beginning of my bourbon education, where I began to appreciate things like mouthfeel, nosing a bourbon, picking up different hints and spices and things. This really was the intro to everything that I like today, and probably one of my favorite hobbies. Weller Special Reserve proudly sits in my decanter at all times here at the house. And it's the first bourbon I grab whenever I have a friend come over who's unsure of whiskey or bourbon or says, I don't like that. I'll just stick with my Miller Lite. I love to introduce them to this because I love to be able to open people's eyes to the experience of what good bourbon is. And I encourage them to sip, try it neat, try it with a splash of water, try it with some ice, but just try it and learn something new. Weller Special Reserve is a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, 45% alcohol, 90 proof. Its mash bill's undisclosed, but we know it's a mix of wheat and different grains, not too heavy on the rye. It's a non-age stated, but it's estimated to be at about 6 to 8 years. Buffalo Trace Distillery, of course, because most good things come from Buffalo Trace. Even though it doesn't have a cork to pop, don't let that fool you. Their screw-off cap is perfectly fine. Weller Special Reserve, it's like that old reliable friend, comforting, always there when you need it. It's that excellent introduction to bourbon, and honestly, it's the one that I gift the most. I always keep it in multiples in my house because it gets drank by me at parties and everybody. It's such a wonderful introductory bourbon to most people, and it's really a great everyday sipper for any of the bourbon aficionados. Even though it doesn't have an incredible amount on the back end and it has a little bit shorter of a finish, it's still a wonderful experience for anybody looking to get into the hobby. When you put it head to head with its cousins, the Full Proof and the Weller Antique, sure, it can fall a little flat and it's a little simple, but honestly, it's that simplicity that makes it so inviting for the bourbon community. This is an excellent bottle of bourbon that I highly recommend for anybody. If you can find this for $55 or so and under, I would buy two because you're going to enjoy it that much. You're going to want to share it with your friend. Weller Special Reserve is a wheated bourbon, 90 proof. It's not age stated, but we know it's about 6 to 8 years aged. MSRPs for $30 to $50 depending. Let's do a fresh crack because this is not a pop, no cork. There it is, that satisfying crack. And pew, pew, pew. There we are. On the nose, you do get a little bit of ethanol, but honestly, from that first sniff, it delivers on its promise, and it's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's inviting. There's soft notes of caramel. The honey really kind of comes through, and maybe a little bit of apple, but definitely some kind of dried fruit. And just a very, very, very slight hint of oak. Let's have a taste. You get caramel, maybe butterscotch. The palate's really where this has its biggest effect. It doesn't pack a heavy punch, and like I said before, this is a great entry level. It's not going to give everybody that whiskey face or that feeling. It really is warm, inviting, and it doesn't really try to be more complex than it really is. This is really medium-bodied and smooth. It glides across your palate. It's easy to drink neat. Honestly, I mean, you could even use it in an old-fashioned. It would work well in all of that. It's a really good pour. It has a very short finish though, so when you blind it against things like, Stag or Wild Turkey, Single Barrel, things like that, you definitely will notice a difference. But honestly, this is such an amazing pour, and for the MSRP, if you can find it for close to that, I pick it up in a heartbeat because Weller Special Reserve is absolutely amazing. Weller Special Reserve is a beautifully approachable bourbon that deserves its reputation as the gateway into wheated bourbons. Weller Special Reserve is more than just a bourbon. It's an invitation to explore, share, and learn more about these wonderful spirits. It may not win every blind lineup, but it wins my heart for its smooth taste and timeless appeal. Based on its taste and low MSRP, if you can find it for the right price point, honestly, I'd put it slightly above maybe Fiddler's Chin Music, give it an 8.5, and I highly recommend it to everybody. Here's to the bottles that bring us together, the sips that started our journeys, and the flavors that remind us why we fell in love with bourbon in the first place. Until next time, Pour something special and share the story, my friends. Bourbon's always better with friends. Be sure to share this content with a friend and like and subscribe.